This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
We're here at Naperville North with girls lacrosse coach Jessica Hogan. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
The season's gotten off to a pretty good start so far. So how do you feel about where you're at early in the season?
I'm really excited about where we're at. We're 4-3, so about a split record, but we played some really good teams in the state. Typically, one of our wins was against Montini, and we won by 1, but it was the first time we've ever beat them, so that was huge. We lost to both York and New Trier, and they have been in the top 10 consistently. New Trier is typically in the top 3 in the state, so we're really proud of our girls and where we're at right now in this season.
Yeah, I think the New Trier finished 3rd last year.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you can't get too upset about losing to them, but it's obviously a good measuring stick as well to see where you're at in the season, right?
Yeah, and building a program, you want to play against teams who will help see show where your weaknesses are and show the girls where we need to be in order to be one of those teams that's consistently in the top 10 in the state.
Now, this is only your 3rd year here at Naperville North, but what have you seen about this program, how it's grown over the years? Obviously, it's an emerging sport according to the IHSA, but how do you feel the school has embraced the sport?
Yeah, I think last year a big step was us adding a Froshsoft team. So adding that 3rd level helps develop girls at an earlier age, because we're still at the point where not a lot of our girls have played before high school. And then one thing that's helping us, especially this year, we're officially a varsity sport, and we have a lot of support from our athletic department and our athletic directors helping us, our buses, our trainers, our turf time, like all that matters when you're developing a program. Our parents, I have the best group of parents supporting us, as well as both the boys lacrosse program here and the girls soccer program. We have open communication about like the facilities when we're using them, so that's also helpful.
Now, I guess what would be the difference for those that don't know between a club and being part of the school as a varsity sport? Is there a big difference?
Yeah, my first year here we were a club sport, and so the parent board was in charge of a lot of things. So logistically, we had to go through the club sponsorship in the school and then double check with the athletic department. At that point, I think they knew they were transitioning to a varsity sport, so they did cover us with buses, but we had to provide the athletic trainers. We never got to practice on the turf. We did get to use the stadium for our games, but North is very supportive of getting students involved wherever they want to be involved, so that's pretty consistent with them encouraging kids to be involved with stuff. So.
Now, you've been part of club lacrosse before, obviously, before you got to Naperville North. So did that make it any more difficult to find practice space before? Now, obviously, you do have the stadium, you do have the facilities of the school.
Last year, we had 3 teams that were splitting a field, but again, D203 is supportive, so we used Washington to practice sometimes, just so that we wouldn't have as many girls on one field. But this year, it's nice that all 3 levels are here at the high school practicing.
Do you think it's a competitive advantage or disadvantage to be considered an IHSA sport or a club sport?
I hope that we go IHSA soon as a state. I think will be a competitive advantage for a few years. I also think that there's a lot of youth programs in the area, so roughly the 5th, 6th grade age group, when they get to high school, that will be a equalizer statewide. It's not just in the western suburbs or just in Naperville. It's like statewide, there's a lot of youth lacrosse. That's kind of the interest level is right around that 5th, 6th grade that kids are starting to get plugged in now.
Okay. Now, what got you into lacrosse? I mean, obviously you've been coaching for quite some time, but what made you, I guess, really get to enjoying the sport that it is?
I was actually a military brat growing up.
Oh, okay.
So I went to 3 high schools, and my first high school was in Springfield, Virginia, right in the DC area. So that's when I was exposed to lacrosse. My 2nd and 3rd high school did not have lacrosse. So then I played in college at the club level, because there was no lacrosse like at any level in the Midwest at NCAA. So I fell in love with it there, and I think still now, one thing that's great is you have girls who have never played lacrosse or even a sport sometimes that are coming out, and they have a chance to make not only the Frostoff team, but we have every year I've coached here, we've had a girl on varsity who's never played lacrosse before she made varsity, because they just have this athletic prowess, and so they are a capable athlete, and I think that's good. It gives us an advantage with a different socioeconomic group as well, because you don't have to have people who have been paying to play club their whole life,
right?
Have an opportunity to play,
get a chance
the
to
sport.
grab the stick and go. Last year you guys finished 10th in state. So what are you guys going to have to do to, I guess, better that? I mean, 10th is pretty good, but obviously you want to be in that upper echelon, I guess.
Yep. In order to better that, we are going to have more involvement maybe in the off season. I am a little bit old school in my coaching, in that I love if my players play another sport. So I love hockey players, basketball players, on the East Coast, girls soccer is a fall sport, so you can play soccer in the fall and lacrosse in the spring. But I do find it beneficial for girls to have that experience of seeing how you work a different field, or ice, whatever your court, whatever your sport may be. I think getting some more players that have experience prior to high school will be beneficial, because when you see those top 4 teams in the state, and there is like a grouping of 4, and then it's 5 through 20, it could be anybody's game depending on the night, kind of how the ratings are. They do have a lot of girls with experience prior to high school. So
yeah, let's talk about this year's team and your senior co-captains, Amanda Blank and Annie Price. What can you say about those 2 girls and how they've led this team so far?
Both of them are very intelligent players. They have a lot of passion, but both of them are very analytical. Annie as a goalie, and if you're a goalie, you understand you're a little bit different, so you're in your own little world right there in the crease, and she does a great job directing our defense. Amanda's a midfielder, and this year you can really tell how she's stepped up in order to get a hat trick. Amanda's really stepped up on the attack end, and she's gotten a hat trick already this season, as well as done a lot of assisting and helping just to run the attack down on the offensive end.
So according to Ishwala, right now Annie Price is leading goalies in saves, so that's got to be something you can always depend on the back end, that she's going to make those saves, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has on and off days, and goalies have a lot of pressure on them. Last year she was top in stats for 3 out of 4 categories, and that helped us get to where we are. And I do think defensively as a team we are improving, but having a goalie as a solid backbone is very crucial.
Absolutely. Where's the scoring going to come from, I guess, for this team? You got obviously Amanda, but
yeah, I'm really glad you asked. Yeah, one thing that I don't want to say pride myself in, but one thing that we pride ourselves in is the fact that you don't know who is going to score. We do have girls, and when you come to our games, if you were to scout, you would see who has a dominating presence on the field, but we typically have 6 or more girls scoring in every game. It's very important to me as a coach, and the girls know this, that if we don't have one threat that everyone has to stop, we are a bigger threat as a team. Absolutely, because we have more opportunities to score on a keeper if they don't know who to keep their eyes out for.
Is there any sort of philosophy as to how you want the girls to shoot, whether it's low, high? Does it matter who the goalie is or what? Yeah,
it really matters on who the goalie is. If they're right-handed, left-handed, we try to scout them a little bit just in warm-ups and see how they respond. But we will watch how they react and have to adjust in the second half if we're not getting those goals in.
Last year's team made it to the Sweet 16. What is it going to take to get back to that same spot, I guess?
Well, we lost to Montini in the Sweet 16, so the win this spring was really encouraging for our girls.
Sure.
And to get back there, I think we just need to have that focus. One thing I do fear this year, having played York, Montini, and New Trier already, is that the girls are have an emotional break right now. They feel like we've done a lot, which we have, but the season is not even halfway through, and we still have a lot of goals that we need to accomplish.
Does it make it any different playing such a a tough schedule to begin the season, and then haven't even had a conference game yet?
I think it's really important to play some good games before you get into conference play. We hope every year to win conference. St. Charles will be a really good game for us. They're ranked, I believe, 6th in state right now. And Nequa always gives us a lot of pressure. With that being said, the coaches in our conference, I appreciate them on a personal level, you know, off of the field. And our conference as a whole, we hope to become more dominant in the state. So.
Well, thank you again for joining me today, and good luck the rest of the season, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.